All right, guys, welcome to another live stream. All right, so 10 financial New Year's resolutions that people tend not to keep. Now, I know a lot of you are probably thinking 10, that's a lot, but yeah, I have 10 on the list. And what I'm going to do, haven't done this before, but on the right-hand side, I'm going to post them up so that way you can keep track of these 10 financial New Year's resolution. But before I get into the list, let me just do a quick mic check so I make sure that my mic is working. That way I'm not recording for no reason, right? All right, give me just a sec. Of these 10 financial New Year's resolution, but before I get into all right. It looks like my mic is working. All right. If it doesn't work throughout the live stream, make sure you guys let me know. That way I can fix it. All right. Let's jump right into the list. Let's not waste any time. All right, so the first financial New Year's resolution that people don't keep is create and sticking to a budget. A lot of you don't stick to your budget. You say, "Oh, well, I'm gonna budget for $200 a week to spend on, whether it's groceries, whether it's whatever." But most people don't stick, and I'm trying to put this up on the screen, so just bear with me. Stick to budget. So let's just save that. That's the first one on the list. But yeah, most of you will say, "Oh, I'm sticking to a $200 budget per week." And then once the weekend gets here, you're like, "Oh, I'm going to go out with my friends." You're at the bar, you're spending money on drinks Saturday and Sunday. Then you go to the mall, you buy some new clothes, and then that 200 turns into 500. So it's important that you stick to a budget. And it says many people resolve to create a budget, but sticking to it constantly throughout the year can be challenging as unexpected expenses or habits creep back in. And yeah, habits is probably the number one thing, but also you do have expenses that just come out of nowhere that also prevent you from sticking to a budget, which as long as it's like expenses for necessary things, I think it's okay. But if you're just spending money and going over your budget, try not to do that. Try to stick to your budget going into 2025, and don't let this be one of the financial resolutions that you don't keep. All right, number two. Number two is save a fixed percentage of your income, right? Most people don't save a specific percentage of their income. They talk about, give me just a second, putting this up on the screen. They say, okay, I make $5,000 a month, and I'm going to save $1,000 of that. Or maybe, maybe you say I'm going to invest that 1,000. Maybe it's not just saving. Maybe you're investing. But most people don't do that, right? Most people will get their paycheck and they don't pay themselves first. They pay the bills. They go out with their friends every week, or family, or whatever you do. They do their hobbies and things like that. And towards the end of the month, they didn't save that $1,000 or that 10% of their income that they brought in for that month. So I would say the best thing to do is probably to have this done automatically. So if you have a separate, I always say have a separate bank account to put that money that you're supposed to save each paycheck or however you get paid, and make it an automatic thing. I think this is going to allow you to set up or not keep this goal if you make it automatic, and also put it in a bank account that doesn't have a debit card that you can't get access to that easily. You have to actually go into the physical bank and pull that money out. And for me, I find that makes it a lot easier. You don't have it in front of your face, or you don't have easy access to it. So yeah, don't let this be one of the financial New Year's resolutions that you don't keep. Make sure you're saving a good percentage of your income, so that way it can go to your emergency savings, or it can go to investments. All right. 3, building an emergency fund. A lot of you don't have an emergency fund. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of you don't have an emergency fund, and this kind of goes hand in hand with the second one. The second one, save a percentage, can also be saving saving to your emergency fund. Save for an save, build, let's just say build an emergency fund, right? Yeah, so most of you don't build an emergency fund. And then what happens is that when you have an emergency, since you don't have a fund, you're digging into that second piece right there, that percentage that you're saving each month for investments, or you're investing it each month, and then you're dipping into regular savings, regular investing accounts, and all that just gets diminished. So make sure you build out you build out an emergency fund. Most of you should have it already, but again, a lot of you don't even have $1,000 saved, right? The average person doesn't have $1,000 in their bank account, and you need a lot more than that to be your emergency savings. You should have at least 2 to 3 months of your expenses saved up. That way, if you have an emergency, you can, defend yourself essentially without going into your investing accounts or your savings accounts. So again, don't let emergency fund not be met for your New Year's resolution. If your New Year's resolution is to have an emergency fund, try to build that out as soon as possible. You should not have an emergency fund. And yeah, let's make sure we keep that promise. All right, number 4, pay off credit card debt. Right, this is going to be a big one. Most of you have credit card debt. You're accruing a bunch of interest. And yeah, interest is high. I mean, you're paying like 18% for your credit card, the credit card you have. I mean, that's the typical percentage for credit card debt, around 18 to 25%. And most of you have a 5 to 10K balance, and that thing just keeps accruing. And what I said in one of my last videos, how to save up to 10,000 fast, was with that bonus that you get at the end of the year from your job. Most of you do get like a $1,000 to $2,000 bonus, and then most of you do get a $2,000 to $3,000 tax refund check. Well, that's an opportunity to pay off this credit card debt that you have, and not let this be one financial New Year's resolution that you don't keep. And this is a big one. I think most people, it says here, resolving to eliminate credit card debt is common, but high interest rates, recurring expenses, and new purchases often cause balances to remain. And this is true. You know, that high interest, you just spending money on silly stuff, not focusing on tackling that debt with money you get. Like that windfall of that tax refund and your bonus at the end of the year and in the beginning of the year, of the new year, is sometimes the only big amount of money that people get for the year, the average person. So you need to take that money and pay off credit card debt. Don't let it accumulate. Don't let it be one of the financial New Year's resolutions that you don't keep. All right, number 5, avoid impulse spending. All right, this is a big one. Most of you like to impulse spend, unfortunately, right? And again, you getting money at the end of the year, going into like the holiday season, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, all that stuff, it's hard to not impulse spend. What that bonus that you get at the end of the year, most of you go out and buy a TV. Most of you go out buy those new shoes that you want. Most of you do all this stuff. So I would say going into the new year as well, but don't end the old year impulse spending. You typically, for all these financial New Year's resolution, you typically want to, towards the end of the year, be implementing these new habits, right? These 5 that we already have up on here. You don't want to go in the new year and start to build these habits. You kind of want to start this towards the end of the year, and it's a perfect time when you get your bonus and towards that Christmas and holidays where everybody's just spending, buying stuff. If you can't afford getting people gifts, don't do that. And impulse spending too, again, it's just so easy to do it during the holidays because there are all these sales like Black Friday, stuff for Christmas, and so on and so forth. So, you know, and it says here, many commit to avoiding impulse buys, yet emotional triggers, sales, or instant gratification often derail this resolution. And this is true. You know, you see something, you want it, and you just buy it, right? If you have to leave your credit cards or your phone, because now I know you have Apple Pay now, in your car when you go into the store, if you need to do that to not spend it, and do it, or you just don't need to go to the store at all. How about that? And most of you would eliminate this impulse spending if you just take yourself away from all these sales. All right, so that's number 5. 6, invest more for retirement. Yeah, a lot of you want to invest more for retirement, but you're not putting money away, right? Most of you say, "Oh, I want to put an additional 500 a month for retirement," and you don't do that because, one, you're impulse spending. 2, you're adding more to your credit card debt. And 3, some of you do need a side job. I'm sorry to say, but your main gig is not enough. And I always say this too. I do like to live a quality life. So for me, it's more about making more money so I can live the quality life that I want to, and I can save and invest the way I need to, opposed to pinching pennies. But the way you invest more for retirement is you do pick up side hustle, you start a side business, and that main job, that 9 to 5, will take care of your expenses while you can take that side gig money and invest more for your retirement, get into some blue chip stocks, get into some high quality ETFs, get into some crypto, get into some real estate. But you're not going to do that, you know, one, if you don't make more money, and then 2, you don't stop spending on silly stuff and piling up those credit cards, right? So invest more for retirement. Increasing retirement contributions is a frequent goal, but short-term financial pressures or procrastination can make it hard to maintain. And this is so true. Financial pressures, procrastination, this all leads to not investing more in your retirement. So don't let this be one of the financial New Year's resolutions that you guys don't keep. Right? Okay, number 7, cut down on dining out. This is a huge one, right? Most of you like to go out to eat. And honestly, for me, I do purchase a lot. I do buy a lot of my food outside, but I budget that in, right? I budget that in, dining out to eat. I budget that in my budget, right? But most of you don't budget. Most of you buy groceries and then you go out to eat. And we're talking about actually dining out. We're not saying actually buying your food, because I buy my food, but that's like my groceries, right? I don't really do a lot of groceries. I like to spend my time doing other stuff. So if you're doing that, I don't see the problem with that. But we're talking about fine dining, spending $200 to $300 a week. You know, a lot of you drink, so you're spending $100 to $200 on food, and then I add drinks to that. You know, it's a $250 to $300 bill, tip and all that stuff if you're fine dining. And you guys need to stop this. A lot of you say, okay, people often resolve to cook more at home and spend less at restaurants and takeout, but convenience, busy schedules, or social outings lead them back to old habits. And this is true. You know, your friends invite you out, and you go to a restaurant, you go to a bar, and then you end up buying an appetizer, you end up buying a drink. You know, if that's your temptation, either eat before you go out, or, you know, don't go out all the time. If you got to do one or the other, or make more money, right? If you want to dine out to eat all the time, you either need to make more money, or you just need to stop doing it altogether and restrict yourself from, say, okay, I'm only going to go out every other week until I get my finances in order, and then I can go out a little bit more. But until then, you know, try to keep this financial New Year's resolution. A lot of you say, I'm not going to dine out, I'm going to eat in, I'm going to buy my groceries, I'm going to cook. Stick to that. Don't let the first month or two go by and you're good, and then after that, just you break that financial New Year's resolution, right? Okay, 8, track spending regularly. All right, this is a big one. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to get this in. All right, 8, track spending regularly. Regular. All right. Yeah, tracking spending regularly. Now, there's a lot of apps. I'm sure your bank, if you have a good reputable bank, they typically can track this for you. You just need to look at it. And I would say maybe every 2 days, go look into your account. See, because they have typically have like a pie. Okay, this money went to gas, this money went to groceries, this money went to that. If you don't like that, you can have your own spreadsheet. You can get a lot of these they have a lot of apps in the App Store. You can download an app to budget for you. But I would say most banks actually do this budgeting for you. They take your purchase and they categorize it in a certain sector and they do it for you. You just have to look and you have to say, okay, this is my budget. This is how much I spend. Did I go over? Okay, what do I need to cut back on? And once you do that, I think a lot from one through 7 will be easier. Tracking spending regularly is going to help you not dine out too much. It's going to help you invest more, stop the impulse spending and things like that. So make sure you're tracking your spending. Tracking every expense is a great way to monitor finances, but maintaining the discipline to record all transaction daily or weekly tends to taper off over some time. And I'm guilty of this too. I don't track my stuff as much as I should because I let my bank do it. But sometimes when you let the bank do it, you could still fall off and you just end up purchasing what you want. So this is probably one that I want to keep too a little bit better because I'm not I don't pinch pennies too much, but I know how much I have. But I still think writing it down and keeping track of it is really good. All right, number 9, sticking to a shopping list. This is very big, sticking to a shopping list. All right, I told you, you probably were thinking, oh, well, dang, 10 is a lot for a list. We're already on 9. All right, so 9, sticking to a shopping list. All right, sticking to a shopping list. This is true. I'm pretty sure some of you go to Target, you say, okay, I'm going to get these 3 things, and then you end up leaving Target with 20 things. Or you go to whatever you go to, Walmart, Whole Foods, whatever the store is, you have a set list, and then you get there, and then you see all these sales, you see all these cool things, and then you start adding stuff to the cart, and then a $50 trip turns into a $250 trip. So make sure this financial New Year's resolution is not being broken. Try to keep it for a good portion of the year. I know it's hard when you go into the store, you start to think about things you actually need. And sometimes you do need those things, but most of the time it's just things you want. So you need to separate your wants from your needs and writing that list out and saying, okay, I'm going to go here. This is what I'm going to buy. This is all I'm going to get. Nothing more, nothing less. And sticking to that shopping list, I think it's gonna be a good one for you guys. It says many resolve to use a strict shopping list to avoid overspending, but unplanned purchases, special offers, or temptations in stores often lead to overshooting the list. And this is so true. Guys, stick to that shopping list. Make sure you don't go over the shopping list. And yeah. All right, number 10. Number 10 is cancel unused subscriptions. Cancel unused subscriptions. This is a big one. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have so many subscriptions that you don't use, or you use them but you don't use them that often. I would say this one, unused subscriptions and subscriptions you don't use that often. A lot of you have Netflix you don't use. You watch a movie every 2-3 weeks. Maybe you don't need that. Maybe you can just go with YouTube or whatever the case may be. But a lot of you do, and maybe you just have 6 or 7 of these movie subscription things. Maybe you get rid of 6 and only keep 1, right? Maybe Netflix is the only one you keep. Obviously, there's a lot. We're in a subscription-based world right now. Everything requires a subscription, so I know that this one's hard. But try to not have so many subscriptions that you don't use. Go through your list before the new year. Go through your list and say, okay, I have 10 subscriptions. I haven't used this one in the last 3 months. Let me get rid of it. And a lot of people go through this. People often pledge to cut back on subscriptions they don't use, streaming services, gym memberships, but forgetting to cancel or justify their potential use makes it hard to follow through. And this is true. So don't be one of those people that break this financial New Year's resolution, and make sure you cancel all your unused subscriptions. All right, so let's go through the list. 1, stick to a budget. 2, save a certain percentage of income. 3, build an emergency fund. 4, pay off credit card debt. 5, impulse spending. 6, invest for more retirement. 7, dining out to eat. 8, tracking spending regularly. 9, sticking to a shopping list. 10, cancel unused subscriptions. These are the 10 financial New Year's resolutions that people tend to break. So make sure you guys are not one of those people that breaks these 10 this year, this 2025. Make it a good financial year, and make sure you don't break these financial New Year's resolutions. That's the video. Let me go over some housekeeping items. Make sure you guys go follow me on Instagram, Mr. Financial Nutrition, TikTok, Financial Nutrition, and I'll see you guys in the next one and also in the new year. Take care. Bye-bye.